Watu! Mnajua ni aje? Ni aje? Tonight we have a fantastic show, ladies and gentlemen. This second day of May. I'm so glad that we are still here. Glad to be alive tonight. I hope you're doing fantastic. Vile nimesema leo sijui show tutapiga kigenge style ama nini. We have the one and only Jua Kali. The king of genge is of course going to be joining me here in studio for a fantastic conversation. Yani mimi ni fan wake mbaya, and I know he has millions and millions of fans across the country, across the world, and we have him here tonight. Amechelewa tu, yanze wagenge manze, wagenge mnachelewa. But you know what is going to be joining us? We also have Willis Ochieng, who's going to be joining us live and direct from Kisii. Na leo nasikia atachachisha show sana. A tongue twister. All right, so let's get to the highlights. A legal and political showdown looms as MPs fight tooth and nail to save NG-CDF.
Kwa maoni yangu, CDF iendelee, lakini itoke kwa mikono ya MP, ipatiwe body ingine fulani.
Civil society groups moved to court in a petition that could see MPs lose control of the billions altogether. Married women led in abortion numbers. Over 700,000 pregnancies terminated in 1 year, as new report shows women in Central, Nairobi, Nyanza, and Western regions leading the pack. Former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i says he has what it takes to fix Kenya in his first major public appearance since leaving government.
We are a country that is built on resilience. Hizi shida zote tuko nazo hapa, tushikane sisi wote. Siku hiyo ikifika tutavuka hiyo daraja na tutaenda mbele. Mungu atatusaidia tu fix hiyo maneno ili nchi yetu iwe sawa sawa.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday with me, Betty Kialo. And our sign language interpreter is Catherine Simaloi. Now, we are starting with news just in from Baringo County, where a brazen banditry attack in Chimoe village has left 2 people dead and 3 seriously injured. Now, this incident occurred amid a high-profile security meeting led by Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen at a nearby Kambi Yasamaki. Now, the armed assailants, suspected to be from Tiati sub-county, also stole a large number of livestock, exacerbating the crisis in the area. Now, the attack unfolded after what officials describe as a security lapse when the Cabinet Secretary for Interior ordered a fresh vetting of all National Police reservists. Many were directed to Bartabwa for screening. Now, this left Chimoe exposed, giving the bandits a window of opportunity to strike. Now, tension is mounting amid reports that locals are forced to flee their homes, seeking safety amid the unrest.
Leo hii watu wawili waliuliwa. Moja wao ni ndugu ya huyo pastor Kandie, Reverend Kandie huyu. Na huyu ni relative yangu. Ndio unasikia nimestuka sana. Ya pili, kuna vijana saa hii wanaletwa kwa kari ya county ambayo wameumia kichwa, wengine moja ameumia mkono hapa.
Watu wetu wawili tayari wamekufa na watatu wako na majeraha na wameletwa, wako njiani. Tunaamini Mungu atasaidia.
Waziri ya usalama akiwa kambi ya samaki akapanga watu ya NBR wote ya Bartabwa waende Bartabwa. Akapanga watu ya Gaparo, watu ya askari, the formed units, the 6 formed units in Baringo North, yote wakapelekwa kambi ya samaki kulinda mtu mmoja waziri ya usalama. Na wajambazi bandits zaidi ya 50 wakavamia Chimoe na kuchukua ng'ombe na kuua watu na kujeruhi watu.
tunashangaa sana kwa sababu leo hii NBR wote waliitwa Bartabwa, wengine wakaitwa Bandei ya Loruk. Sasa watu wetu wanakaa peke yao bila mtu yeyote ya kuchunga hawa. Hata Kibaro yote wanaenda kuchunga Wasiri. Mimi najiuliza, hii kitu ni bandit kweli ama ni kitu inapangwa?
All right, now moving on tonight, we focus on the escalating insecurity in the North Rift, where National Police reservists originally deployed to combat banditry are now said to have turned into militia groups. Now, the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has sounded the alarm over the worsening situation, revealing that 25 reservists have been arrested in Kerio Valley over links to criminal activities, including aiding banditry in Baringo County.
Deep in Baringo County, the relentless impact of now emerging as organized banditry is leaving communities in despair each passing day. In the most recent attack along the volatile Loroka Marigat route, coordinated ambushes have recently claimed the lives of 4 individuals. 2 of the victims were drivers en route to Ngingang Market, while others were attacked at Moinonin, sending shockwaves of fear throughout the region. And today, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, speaking at a high-level security meeting with regional and county officials, confirmed that investigations over the past year have resulted in the arrest of 25 National Police reservists originally recruited to combat banditry. These officers have allegedly transformed into armed militia groups, intensifying criminal operations and further destabilizing local security.
We don't want to train a militia. Ati serikali imetrain mtu, tumepatia bunduki, anakuja kutoka hapa anaenda kufanya kazi ya ukora. So we will put anybody who has served under NPR, even after we sack you, tunakuweka kwa consistent surveillance to see your works. The once sporadic acts of robbery have evolved into systematic highway-based criminality, leaving communities living in fear. Local residents describe an atmosphere of tension, businesses shuttered, and daily life disrupted as these rogue groups exploit long-standing regional grievances. Insecurity is enriching those who want to be rich to punish the poor in marginalized areas.
Murkomen further condemned local elites and political figures, accusing them of leveraging this widespread insecurity for personal gain and living areas, even those that have received constituency development funds for decades without essential services like secondary schools, despite years of development funding.
How is it possible since 2005, up to now, 20 years down the line, about almost 2 billion kwa CDF imekuja kwa Tiati constituency, and there is no one secondary school in a whole location called Silali? How is it possible? There must be something wrong.
The government is now moving to revert and purge remaining police reservists in a bid to restore order, but whether it will work remains a wait and watch. Chichi, Josephine, TV 47.
From security matters, now listen to this. A startling new report has revealed that close to 800,000 pregnancies were terminated in just 1 year, with married women leading the statistics. Women in Central, Nairobi, Nyanza and Western regions leading the pack, as Elizabeth Atieno tells us.
Between April 2023 and May 2024, the Ministry of Health, the African Population and Health Research Center, and the Gatmaka Institute conducted a national study on the incidences of induced abortions and the severity of abortion-related complications in Kenya, and the findings are shocking to say the least. According to the research, 78.6% of women who presented with abortion-related complications in Kenya were married, with 90.6% identified as Christians. 41.8% were aged between 25 to 34. Central, Nairobi, Nyanza, and Western regions had higher rates of induced abortion compared to other areas. In 2023, Kenya reported 792,624 cases of induced abortion, with the induced abortion rate at 57.3 per 1,000 women aged between 15 to 49. According to the report, there are 464,690 cases of induced abortions in Kenya, with 50.6% of women with post-abortion complications treated in public health facilities and 69.3% treated at primary level facilities. Further, about 65.6% of women with induced abortion had previously given birth, and 29.1% had 4 or more pregnancies in their lifetime. 1.4% of women treated for post-abortion complications experienced severe maternal outcomes. About 16.4% presented with potentially life-threatening complications. More than 92% of women treated for post-abortion complications received contraceptive counseling before leaving the health facility. However, only 43.5% left the facility with a method of contraception. Only 26% of women of those who left the facility without a method of contraception cited that they wanted to be pregnant again. Between 2015 and 2019, 129 million unintended pregnancies occurred annually worldwide, with 61% of these pregnancies ending in induced abortions. Of these abortions, about 45% were unsafe, heightening the risk to the health and well-being of women. 97% of unsafe abortions occur in low and middle-income countries, including in the African sub-regions. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
Absolutely shocking statistics there. Now, moving on, a section of members of parliament have called on the government and security agencies to immediately intervene and beef up their security, saying they fear for their lives following the murder of Kasipul Member of Parliament Charles Were, who was gunned down by unknown assailants at the Nairobi City Mortuary roundabout on Wednesday night. Samira Mohammed tells us more.
Barely 2 days after the assassination of Kasipul Member of Parliament Charles Were, a section of members of parliament now want their security beefed up, saying they fear for their lives.
It is something that has scared, members of parliament. I can tell you, even yesterday, members who are here really feared to live here beyond dusk, as you cannot know then who is safe.
If a sitting member of parliament can be shot when he is also with his security in broad daylight, it is something that all of us collectively, even if we have as many bodyguards as we can, we are very worried about.
Led by Homa Bay Town Member of Parliament Peter Kaluma, the legislators have questioned the security state in the nation, claiming that there could be loopholes in the entire country's security system.
If a member of parliament can be killed in the manner the Honorable Were was killed, who in Kenya then is safe? And that is something for the police to answer. The casual manner in which the MP lost his life is something that can downgrade the sense of security of the country in even the eye of the international community.
Whereas death has triggered a flurry of mixed reactions, both on and offline, with a section of Kenyans showing a striking lack of sympathy. The situation has rubbed members of parliament the wrong way.
Beyond a politician who is dead, there is a father of 2 young girls who are grieving. We have lost Utu as a nation, and each of us, every time we say negative things, you think it affects us, but it affects you as well.
According to the burial committee chaired by Homa Bay Town Peter Kaluma, the post-mortem exercise for the slain member of parliament was slated for May 2nd but was postponed to Monday after police sought more time to complete the investigations.
The post-mortem for the Honorable Charles Ongondo Were was to be done today, but the investigations by the police are dealing with different aspects. The police and the government pathologist requested that we undertake it now on Monday.
whereas body will be flown to the Kabunde airstrip in Homa Bay on Thursday, where the public will be accorded an opportunity to view it and later be buried at his Homa Bay home on Friday next week.
Thursday, following the Requiem Mass, we will transport the body home, and the body will be flown to Kabunde airstrip in Homa Bay before the body is transported to his home for the final rites.
And even as the investigations into the murder of the so-spoken Member of Parliament commence, the legislators have called on the DCI to expedite on the investigations and ensure those found culpable are brought to book.
We are asking the investigative agencies to move with terrible speed to ensure that this matter is brought to book. Initial preliminary reports we were getting yesterday about them having been able to at least trace the image of the suspect from the CCTV cameras are encouraging, but we really want to get to the bottom of that matter.
Samira Mohammed for TV 47, Nairobi.
All right, now tonight, Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, has broken his silence on his presidential ambitions during a triumphant homecoming tour of Kisii and Nyamira counties. Matiang'i, who was flanked by Governors Simba Arati and Moses Nyaribo, as well as UDA and ODM MPs, said he is ready to fix Kenya as president, telling the nation not to lose hope despite the ongoing challenges. Apollo Kamau tells us more.
Flanked by hundreds of residents amid massive crowds across Kisii and Nyamira counties during his inaugural homecoming tour, former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i seemingly sent a political statement to President William Ruto and ODM party leader Raila Odinga that the ground could have shifted and he is ready to fill the Abagusi leadership vacuum in the race for the presidency in 2027.
Niongee na Wakenya kutoka kaunti zote za Kenya. Mtanipea nafasi hiyo? Abagusi this time round tutatafuta hii kitu na mkono wa kushoto ili tuende polepole tufike hapo.
Matiang'i, who was initially scheduled to address his supporters at Kisii Capital Roundabout, was forced to go to Gusii Stadium by the swelling crowd, where he broke his silence on the much-awaited announcement to declare his 2027 presidential bid.
Tusipoteze imani. Let us not lose hope in our country. Tukae na imani. We are a country that is built on resilience. Hizi shida zote tuko nazo hapa, tushikane sisi wote. Siku hiyo ikifika tutavuka hiyo daraja na tutaenda mbele. Mungu atatusaidia tu fix hiyo maneno ili nchi yetu iwe sawa sawa.
Flanking the governor was ODM Deputy Party Leader Simba Arati and his Nyamira counterpart Amos Nyaribo, who endorsed Matiang'i's presidential bid, tasking him to speak to the country's other regions.
Tumetoa ndugu yetu Okenyo Fred akutane na kila mmoja ambaye anagombea kiti, na sisi hatutatusi mtu yoyote.
Mnataka Matiang'i aulize president, inua mikono muonyeshe.
ODM MPs led by Senators Okongo Omogeni, Richard Onyonka, ODM members of the National Assembly, Anthony Kibagendi, Clive Gesairo, Obadia Barongo, and Patrick Osero, flanking Matiang'i during the homecoming tour.
2027 ni Fred Okengo. Tunataka kusema kwamba kuzungumza kutoka Gusii Stadium kwa sauti moja kama Oma Gusii. Wanaume waonane kwa da.
Tungependa kuonyesha Wakenya kuwa tuko tayari kuwania uongozi wa nchi hii, na yule ambaye tumemchagua ni kijana yetu anaitwa Fred Okengo Matiang'i.
UDA MPs Joash Nyamoko, Gloria Roba, and former North Mogirango MP Vincent Kemosi, among other leaders, endorsing Matiang'i as a uniting factor of the Abagusi.
Wakati huu tutatembea pamoja vile mzee Nyacha alisimama 2002 akaweka Wakisii wote pamoja.
Tunatafuta nyumba ambayo wamama wataishi kwa
huko ndani.
With eyes on 2027, Matiang'i told his supporters that he will now resign from his job at the World Bank to concentrate on local politics. Apul Kamau, TV47.
Now, a legal and political showdown is looming as Kenyans brace for a scramble over billions of shillings in the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Now, this comes as the Katiba Institute, alongside 4 civil society groups, have moved to court to challenge the National Assembly's attempt to entrench key public funds into the Constitution. Now, the petition filed at the High Court seeks to halt the constitutional amendment process that would formalize the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Now, the Senate Oversight Fund and the National Government Affirmative Action Fund are involved.
The Katiba Institute, alongside 4 civil society groups, have filed a petition at the High Court seeking to block the National Assembly's attempt to entrench 3 key public funds, the NGCDF, the Senate Oversight Fund, and the National Government Affirmative Action Fund into the Constitution. The petitioners argue that these funds can be managed under the existence of constitutional framework, citing Supreme Court rulings and decades of established practice. They insist that any effort to alter the Constitution must be governed by a referendum law, a mandate they say Parliament has neglected for 14 years. Before the court hears the case, Katiba is urging urgent interim orders. Their demands include suspending upcoming public participation scheduled for early May, halting budget approvals for these exercises, and preventing the bill from reaching the president's desk. This bold move could stall a process that experts warn might set a dangerous precedent for physical government in Kenya. And even as the legal battle is warming up, a political one seems to be in the offing, with opposition leader Raila Odinga taking a stand against the constitutional entrenchment of NGCDF, arguing that the fund should be devolved to the county governments instead. Speaking in Thika, Odinga dismissed the planned public participation forums as ill-timed and unnecessary.
Today there's a Gazette notice. They are saying that they want to amend the Constitution in order to legalize this CDF national government. What does national government have to do in the counties? In counties, we have counties which have got executive powers to implement. Let the national government let go of resources to the counties.
Pressed for the full devolution of other key agencies as well, claiming that local governments are better equipped to manage development projects like market constructions and affordable housing.
But you cannot blame Governor Sakaja for roads in Nairobi which are not under his jurisdiction. Most of the roads in Nairobi are not county government roads. They are all Kura and Kera roads. What is Kera doing in outside Nairobi as a city, the capital of the country? So let devolution work.
This coming even as it seems to be an all-system-go affair for MPs, some of which are calling for an increase in the fund's budget.
It should not be about whether CDF should exist or not. It should be whether we are going to add more resources into NGCDF. Na pia counties zetu wanajikaza na wanafanya kazi mzuri. Mimi ningeuliza pia controller of budget, tafadhali apatie ruhusa magovernors wetu na county government zetu waendelee kutoa bursaries vile wamekuwa wakitoa.
It is now a matter of wait and watch, with all eyes now on the corridors of justice in the make or break decision. Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47, Nairobi.
Now listen to this. The Office of the Auditor General has uncovered an extra 31 million shillings that was erroneously disbursed through the government's flagship Hustler Fund. Now this discovery adds to the 10.6 billion shillings lost over the past year, a sum attributed by the government to data management loopholes. The Auditor General's report highlights serious financial irregularities in the loan facility operations, now notably including the disbursement of loans to individuals under the age of 18 and even to unborn children.
And reduce the cost of borrowing so that the double-digit borrowing of 18% or 20%, it is not possible for us to grow our economy, to grow more business, to expand enterprise if the cost of borrowing money is high. We must bring it down to single digit.
Just yesterday, President William Ruto announced new developments on the flagship project, the Hustler Fund, crowning it as a pivotal achievement under the bottom-up economic transformation model. These sentiments of the President were shared by the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Cooperatives and MSME Development, Wycliffe Oparanya.
There are over 20 million people who have accessed Hustler Fund. And the moment people have borrowed over 60 billion Kenya that they have borrowed. And this is a digital facility where you don't talk to anybody. Ni kama tu Fuliza. Fuliza ukikopa, siku ile unaweka pesa kwa simu yako wanachukua.
However, the Office of the Auditor General had many other things to say, stating unequivocally that over 10.6 billion shillings of the funds had been unaccounted for in the financial period 2022-2023, and around 8 billion shillings of public funds might never be repaid. An additional 31 million shillings has currently been disbursed to individuals under the age of 1, and some are even unborn.
If there's mismanagement of public resources, is there a limitation of time in terms of being accountable or even in prosecution if you've stolen or wasted public resources?
One was the fact that there was some multiple applications by the same people applying for multiple loans, even before they repaid. So it's that record keeping. I think the big things were the record keeping, and that record keeping undermines the ability to recover. So recoveries were very poor as well. In addition to, of course, she didn't call them cheating, but instances in which some people who did not even have IDs and whose ages would suggest that they're not attained the age of majority, which would qualify them to have a loan from the Hustler Fund in itself. So in total, what you're just saying, there's just the management around the Hustler Fund is really, really poorly done on the supply side, and that's a problem for the possibility that there will be loss of public funds, but also that some fraud could take place.
Launched in 2022, the Hustler Fund aimed to support small businesses and entrepreneurs by offering loans ranging from 500 shillings to 50,000 shillings with an 8% annual interest rate.
Nilichukua Hustler Fund ilianza na 500 limit ya kwanza. Ikachukua ilichukua muda mrefu kugrow.
Mimi nimefanya nayo biashara yangu ilikuwa nimefungua tu ka njugu, ikanishinda kwa sababu hata limit yangu haikupandishwa.
Nimekuwa nikikopewa 500 na hata sijaongezewa limit.
Inakuwa ni vigumu kama biashara, mchuruziko wa biashara ungelikuwa ni mzuri. Hii inamaanisha mtu angekuwa anauza biashara, anapata faida kidogo ambayo amepata, ananunua chakula, alafu ile principal anarudisha, anachukua nyingine.
Hustler Fund imenisaidia pia kukuza biashara yangu sababu nimechukua mara 2 na nikaona iko na interest. Lakini kwa saa huu nimeona interest yao imeanza kupanda, imeanza kunishinda, sijachukua tena. Na sichukui.
Even before the new budget cuts happened, this fund was already in the red because the recovery rates were very low. So for me, what I'm most worried about is whether the government is clear that the bank and the facilities that are managing it would not be affected. Right, their capital and their balances would not be affected because it's clear the Hustler Fund is not solvent. And I'm basing it not on my opinion, but on what the Auditor General said. It's clear that the amount of money that's going out, the recovery rates are so low to the extent that obviously it's not possible to recycle the fund unless government gives more money. So that means that obviously right now either they're going to have to close those gaps or the program would have to be scaled down substantially.
A recent audit has raised serious concerns over the fund's operations, revealing significant financial discrepancies and operational weaknesses.
What you see in the Hustler Fund is a reproduction of a general absence of transparency by this administration. And they think that if they tell us that this is a digital platform or this is a digital thing, that's enough. But it depends. Precisely, we have data protection laws in Kenya. And so the integrity of that data, who holds it, are questions of public interest, not just public interest, but they're actually required to be managed according to what the laws say. So it's clear here and that if they cannot answer those questions, then obviously it raises questions about the integrity of the system itself and whether those records really reflect inflows and outflow.
The audit for the 2023-2024 fiscal year uncovered that more than 31 million shillings in loans were disbursed to individuals either listed as underage or unborn. According to the report, more than 253,000 recipients had birth dates recorded as falling between July 1st of 2024 and December 31st of 2073. Dates that are clearly in the future. Of these, 42,981 unborn individuals received loans totaling 31.1 million, with Safaricom users accounting for the majority at 24.6 million shillings, followed by Airtel at 6.3 million and Telcom at 286,600.
The data management is not secure and it doesn't have high integrity, and we're dealing here with financial exchange, then it tells us that the system itself or the platform itself is completely insecure.
Kwa kufanya biashara, ningeomba serikali mtu akilipa imuongeze hata ifikishe 5,000 ama 10,000, kwa sababu hiyo pesa ndio inaweza saidia Mkenya yote. Unaweza anza biashara ya mayai, biashara ya soko, lakini ukipoa 500 na 1,000, hiyo hata unakula na unakasirika na unashindwa hata kulipa.
And beyond the discrepancies is a single-digit loan whose fate now lies in the balance.
Tuweze kuchukua hii Hustler Fund na tukichukua hii Hustler Fund tuweze kulipa ili limit yako iweze kuongezeka. Si kama wanabiashara tunashukuru na tunasema tuendelee kuomba Hustler Fund ili limit yetu iendelee kuongezeka.
Hibak Said for TV 47.
Haya, sasa mambo iko karibu kwa moto. Niliwaambia sasa from this time, sasa tunasoma news kigenge style. But you know what? Nataka first we just check out if Willis na kuona uko standby vimezesha.
Betty.
Niambie.
I have missed you. Where have you been?
I didn't expect that, Willis, to miss you too. Man, you look good. Hata umechange miwani, naona. You look good, Willis. I've been good. Leo umeona tuko na jua kali. Nipe asali. Unamjua kweli?
Yeah, Betty, I happen to know so many people in this country, especially those influencers, like when you talk about music, like Jua Kali, and then Ngeli ni agenge, if I've not got it wrong, Ngeli ni agenge, I don't know the way he does that inflection, but...
Yaani paka Willis anajua Ngeli ni agenge. Paka Jua Kali amecheka kabisa. Willis, yes, ngoja lazima leo mfundishane. Utamfundisha kizungu ya kufundisha sasa genge sasa zile heavy.
That's great, Betty. That's
all
great.
Right. Okay, Willis. Looking forward to the show tonight. Of course, that's going to be happening on Which is Which. Na vile nimwambia leo maneno hapa kwa studio ni moto. Wacha niwaambie. Mtu kuja hapa. Kwani unaogopa? Unaogopa? Nilikuwa nikuja lakini nimeona tu kuja hapa tu katikati. Paka umetengeneza nywele.
Hagia kiji.
Pole pole. Pole pole.
Bro. Ngoja. Lazima ilock. Ndio hiyo imelock.
Uko lucky niko na damu ya Mluya. Salimiana, ongea maneno.
Watu, mnajua ni aje? Ni aje jua? Poa sana, usio.
Hiyo tu si tulikuwa tukutuambia ni aje.
Niendelee? Nipigie mstari.
Kitu tu moja hapo mbili.
Hapa tunacheza na maneno. Ngeli ni andika ivaskan kona njaa, nenda kupika bila makaa, na waita na mnakata. Mnasema TV47 ya mavijana, kushiba ni baada ya sala, kuiba nao squeeze ni bala.
Noma manze. Uzeeki.
Ai, forever young.
Lakini naona kuna katumbo hapo hivyo. Hiyo tumbo ni
nirudishe ndani nikikuja.
Pesa imekuwa mingi sasa.
Tumbo za miaka zinasoma.
Manze nyinyi tumbo ni ukishafika 40 sasa aka katumbo kanatakatana kuenda. Manze unakaa fiti. Wife akwaje?
Wife ko fiti. Watu wako poa.
Haya. Basi tupeleke break. Tunarudi na wewe tupeleke break.
Bila uone.
Karibia. Wewe si ni msanii.
Watu wangu tunaenda break, alafu tukirudi mambo moto, au sio? Jokali hapa Betty TV47.
Ndani.
Cheze mbali.
Wase.
Cheze mbali.